Hello y'all, what's up? My name is Elizabeth and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this week I want to talk a little bit more about the video I made that I released last week. Technically it's been almost 2 weeks since I actually videotaped that from now to when I'm talking about right here in this present time. And it's really gotten me to think a lot about the whole idea of a new point of view. So I really just wanted to wrap up the whole year since this was actually going to be released actually on the new year. So I wanted to really wrap up last year and to also have a viewpoint of the year coming forward. And so that's really what this video is going to be about. So after the introduction, you're going to hear a poem that I actually wrote. I feel like just really grasps the whole idea of what I personally have learned this year and what I hope to continue that lesson into next year. And I want to dig deeper down into the reason why I chose the word that I have chosen for it. And yeah, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. So let's get started. I Choose by Elizabeth Margaret. Past the illusions that call my attention, past misconceptions to the real problem. The scrambled letters of missing chapters, hidden so deep I choose not to remember. So happiness is what I have been after, worldly gains that are never forever. Thought desperate prayers on me my answers, finding the end of this maze-like tunnel. Oh, can I swallow my own pride, facing myself dead in the eyes? Can I take my own medicine, the advice that I have given? To tear open the wounds that have never healed, back to that dreaded place I dare not feel. Is this really the source of all my pain? The hidden truth I face not till today. That all my ambitions amount to nothing, vain repetitions of climbing this mountain, to realize I never owned it all this time. It's been waiting for me, now the choice is mine. I thought I needed to fix myself, prove my worthiness somehow. But he said it is already done, so why don't you just walk in the sun? So I choose to be healed. I choose joy, to raise my hands in the storm. I choose hope instead of fear, 'cause the path has been cleared. Now I choose where I go from here. In the first stanza, the first two lines, I talk about how these illusions and these misconceptions. And I watched this movie, Spider-Man, actually. I think it's Spider-Man Far From Home. And I think his name was Magneto. No, not Magneto, but Mysterious or something like that. Anyhow, he made all these illusions. And the people thought they were fighting that illusion when really it was just robots programming a hologram for them. And I think that's sometimes in our own lives. As I talked about in my message about the physical versus the spiritual and the mental barriers, a lot of times I believe the physical barriers are those illusions that get to our attention, that we think are the real problem, but it's really not the real problem. In the last two stanza of the of the last two lines of the second stanza, the scrambled letters, missing chapters, hidden so deep I choose not to remember. I think for all of us, there's things in our lives that happen that just we don't want to remember them. And so a lot of times we bury them so deep. And we think that maybe we resolved it, but we never really did. And so it just keeps coming back up again, but we don't always know the reason why. And sometimes it's so deep that we can't really pinpoint on the reason why, so we have to dig deeper. And a lot of times when we don't really resolve those, we go after other things that try to fix the problem, you know. So that's where the second stanza comes in. Happiness is what I have been after, worldly gains that are never forever. So we go off chasing these things, and I think as believers sometimes we think that we can somehow earn God's side, on God's love, God's acceptance, God's answer. So in the last two lines of that second stanza, I said, thought desperate prayers on me, my answers, finding the end of this maze-like tunnel. So we think that, at least I did, I don't know about you, but at least I did, in my perception, I felt like that maybe if I prayed enough, maybe if I did enough good, then maybe I can somehow earn my answer or earn my way with God, that He'll fix my problem for me. And to be honest, it's not how that works. The Bible talks about how our works are like dirty rags. So, yeah, just because you pray, you don't have to earn your answer. God already answers you. It just may not be the answer you want it to be. It may not be the answer like finding the end of this maze-like tunnel. But it's the answer that you need. So the third stanza is, oh, can I swallow my own pride? Facing myself dead in the eyes, can I take my own medicine? The advice that I have given. So I wrote this stanza, after I actually recorded the message of point of view, because some stuff happened in my life, like literally right after, and I was really faced with, can I really take my own medicine? I just made a video about point of view. Now, can I take that video that I made, the message of seeing things from a different point of view, by understanding to get to the deep of the root of the mental barrier? Can I do that? Will I do that? And I just really had to face that, facing myself, facing my own pride. When I thought about facing myself dead in the eyes, it's like the deepest fears of what you don't want to see of yourself. And so that's really the whole medicine and the advice that I've given was based on that. I just spoke a message. Now, can I live that message of what I told other people to live? And can I do that for myself? So then in the fourth stanza, to tear open the wounds that have never healed, back to the dreaded place I dare not fear. This is the whole idea of digging deeper down into the mental barriers that we have, just digging deeper down into the places that we don't really want to go, but we must go to really see what is really going on. What is our misconceptions? What is it that we truly believe? Maybe it's not the truth, but it's what we believe, it's what we fear. And that's why I said, is this really the source of all my pain? A lot of times we don't think that this is really a source. I didn't realize that I was angry with God until I really got down to the source of, okay, it's not that. Okay, it's really not that. It's really not that. It's almost like, that's why I talk about tearing the wounds that have never healed. I think about tearing something open, kind of like tearing yourself apart almost, to get to the root of whatever is causing the pain. And the hidden truth I faced not till today. A lot of times we don't face that truth until we must have to, until we tear open the physical barriers, the illusions that we see, that we think are the real problems but are not the problems. In the fifth stanza, I talk about that all my ambitions amount to nothing. I think sometimes we think or we believe that we can try hard enough, that we can earn God's favor. And my point is that those ambitions amount to nothing. They don't earn me any more. I don't gain more love from God by doing any of these things, nor can I lose God's love. I think that's also important. Vain repetitions of climbing this mountain. It's the idea of this cycle, of this idea of this cycle of ups and downs, this cycle of, oh, I do good, now I don't do good, and so then I fall down the mountain, so then I'm trying to climb up the mountain. The mountain is like this place of getting kind of like right with God and making everything right, and this climbing. So my ambition of climbing this mountain, but it becomes vain repetition because it's not getting me anywhere. Because I can never earn God's favor. I can never earn my answer. He always given it to me. And that's why I talk about it's been waiting for me. Now the choice is mine. I've been praying for different things in my life, and God's been saying, look, you already have it. I mean, you can't earn your salvation, nor can you earn your answer from God, nor can you earn your own purity, which is actually something I'm going to talk a little bit more about on Valentine's Day, the whole idea of purity. I think that's a good subject for Valentine's Day, so I don't want to spoil that part. But I did think I should try to earn my own purity, and that's such a false consumption. We can't earn our own purity. A purity, by accepting Jesus Christ, God has covered us with His blood. Now we have a choice to walk in that. And that's what I mean, the choice is mine. You know, I've been praying for God. God, can you give me more joy? Well, I already have been given joy. If I'm a believer, if I'm a believer, then I've already been given the joy. I've already been given the hope. God has already purified me. Now I can walk in that. I have a choice to walk in that. And so then in the sixth stanza, I kind of explain a little bit more what I mean by the vain repetition of climbing the mountain, by saying I thought I needed to fix myself, prove my worthiness somehow. But He said it is already done. That's what I'm talking about. When I was praying, I just felt like God was saying to me, you already have it. So stop praying for it, pretty much. Stop praying for it. You already have it. Just live it now. Just walk in it like you already have it. So why don't you just walk in the sun? And so after that, I make this, the last stanza is more of this declaration that I'm making. I choose to be heard. You know, I've been praying for God to hear me. Well, maybe it's more of that I haven't let Him. So now I choose to be heard. I choose to have joy. I choose hope. Because God has already made a way. Now I have a choice to walk in it. And that's why I choose. I choose to walk in it. And so that's really what the poem really means to me. And I think it really sums up what I've learned this year. That, yeah, there's circumstances in my life that I can't change. But I can choose how to react to them. And no, that sounds so simple. And I've been told that several times by specifically my mother for years. But it really hasn't been until this year, 2020, did that message finally get to me. And I wanted to share with you guys that message that I have learned that I really hope will propel me into 2020. If I have one goal, is that I keep realizing that I have a choice. That though I can't choose the circumstances around me, I can choose how I'm going to react to it. I can choose to walk into the light that God has given to me instead of living in the past of the things I have done. I can choose to live in the new life God has given me. And that's the choice that I hope you all make. But I know I can't convince you guys all, but I can still speak the truth. So that is the truth. And that's really what I wanted to talk about in this exact video, is that poem, and just to really propel us into the new year on positivity, that we have a choice to accept the gift that God has given to us. Thank you so much for watching the Christmas season. I really hope this encourages you to look. Well, God has given us the greatest gift of all, with your New Year's resolution. If you do that, I don't know if you do. See, we are dead without Him, but we are alive in the life that God has given us all. And He has given us a choice to walk in that life. That's really how we bring. But we must accept. We must open that present that He has given us. And that's what I choose, and that's what I hope you choose, to walk in the life He has given on the new year. I know for me, it definitely changes the way I look at the new year. I don't look at the new year based on the circumstances or based on what I can do, but more based on what God has given to me, that I have chosen to accept that. Again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you wanted to have any comments or anything you want to say, put that in the comment down section below, because I'd love to hear from you. As always, please subscribe and push that bell button and push the word all to get notifications. And I think that's pretty much a wrap. By the way, I have a poetry website, and the poem I choose will be up there, so you can also read that there. And I believe I have a new section called Letters, which is letters that I have written to people. Some of them know it, some of them letters that were never sent, but just really just about letters, whether it's to myself or to other people. And so I hope you enjoyed that new section on my poetry website, and I think that's it. So See you next time. God bless you. Bye.